today. As you know, it is November, and you know what November is, right? November is no complaints November. Yes, this is our second annual year of celebrating No Complaints November. So I hope and pray that you all got your all of your complaints out at midnight or even this morning, because starting today, for the entire month of November, yes, Ebenezer, we will not be complaining about anything. We will not be complaining about anything. Good morning, Minister Minor. Yes, it is No Complaints November. I love this time of the year. This is a time of year that we're able to reflect and look, and we're a blessed people. I must say that we are a blessed people. We're a blessed people. We're blessed. If you woke up in the United States of America today, I don't care what your situation is or what your circumstances are. You are blessed, Sister Pat. Yes, you are blessed. Regardless of your circumstances and your situation, you woke up in the land of the free. No, the nation is not perfect. No, yes, there are some things that we can iron out. There are some things that we can wrinkle out. There are some things that we need to improve on. But I would not have wanted to wake up in any other place than in the United States of America. If you woke up here today, you are blessed. And I believe that if you looked over your life and you just took a general overview, you would be able to count more blessings than you could count the negatives in your life. Yes, there are more positives than there are negatives in your life if we would just focus on them. So this No Complaints November is a time and a season, Sister Karima, where we're able to reflect on the good things in life. To focus on the blessings in life, to focus on all of the great things that are happening to us. Yes, we all go through problems. Yes, we all have situations and circumstances. Yes, we all wish we had $1 million. Yes, we all wish we didn't have to go to work tomorrow. I know some of you are dreary now because you're thinking about you got to deal with that mean boss tomorrow. Or you may not even be employed. You may feel down and out because you don't have employment. But I believe that in spite of what you're going through, you still are blessed. And there still are things that you can be thankful for. So No Complaints November, we're going to be fasting for this month. We're going to be in fasting and in prayer. In fasting and in prayer about not complaining about certain things in life. We don't want to complain about anything, but for these next 5 weeks, we're going to be dealing with specific things that we're going to hone in and key on in what we are not going to complain about. And since it is election season, since Election Day, I know we've started early voting, but since Election Day is coming up this week, God had put on my heart that we start the series, that we kick this off with I Won't Complain About Leadership. Our topic today is I won't complain about leadership. Now, many of us, when we think about church and we think about how we line ourselves up as believers, sometimes we forget that leadership is a blessing, that God had instituted leadership for a purpose. And I'm not just talking about in the church, but also outside of the church, at your job, wherever you go. Every organization requires leadership, right? It requires leadership. Leadership is not always easy, Sister Shauna. Leading a ministry is not easy. Making decisions for children events is not easy. Being a leader is not easy. All of your decisions are always looked at. Everything that you do as a leader is always criticized, sometimes good and sometimes bad. Every decision that you make, every move, every turn that you make is always looked through a magnifying glass. Leaders in the church, whether you're a leader on your job, a leader in your home, regardless of where you are as a leader, leadership is difficult. And a lot of times we find ourselves, even if we are not in leadership, we don't put ourselves in a leader's shoes, so we don't know how difficult it is to lead. See, it's easy to look on to be on the outside and looking in and say, well, if I was that leader, I'd make that decision. Or if I was he or she, Mother Lewis, I would do this or I would do that. But being in leadership is very, very difficult. And leaders need prayer. Leaders need encouragement. Leaders do need positive criticism, but leaders don't need complaining. Yeah, see, there's a difference between having positive criticism and complaining. See, positive criticism, you have an agenda to give someone some help. See, complaining, when people complain, they just sit back and just want to talk. When people who complain just sit back, they just want to be heard. Complaining is defined as, I'm going to give you the definition of complaining. Complaining is defined as expressing dissatisfaction or annoyance about a state of affairs or an event. Let me say that again. Complaining, here's the definition of complaining. It is expressing a dissatisfaction or annoyance about a state of affairs or an event. Now, before we go any further, I just want to make a disclaimer that we all are human and that we all complain sometimes. We all are human, and at one point or another, we all complain at sometimes. We all have something to complain about, Sister Shauna. We all have something that we wish were better in our lives. We all have something that we want somebody's ear to hang on to so that we can complain, whether or not we have an objective to make things right. But because we're human, we have a desire within us to complain. Complaining is just being a part of the human nature. Complaining is just part of the human nature. You can't avoid it. There's no way to go around it. But the issue snowballs and it becomes a problem because most people complain about trivial or things that they have zero control over. Yes, the problem arises and snowballs because some people complain about trivial, small things. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but sometimes people complain about stupid things. I don't like to use that word, but sometimes when you hear people complain about some things, you just have to think to yourself, why did you even call me about that? Why are you even wasting my time? I got better things to do. I don't have time to hear complaints about stupid stuff, about little small things, about stuff that you can just forget about, that you can just walk over, that you can just walk around, that you can just go on about your day. I don't have time to hear about dumb complaints. Trivial things. What are some trivial things people complain about? Let us talk about it. Long lines in stores to purchase non-essential items. Black Friday's approaching. Black Friday's approaching, and if you can go on YouTube now and you can watch some videos about people complaining and being trampled over and going crazy in Walmart. See, Walmart's ghetto. I don't go to Walmart. I go to Target. Going in Walmart, trampling over people, going crazy, complaining about lines and just to get things that we don't need. You complaining about a line to pay for a television. You're complaining because of traffic to go get some ice cream. You ain't going to work. And if you know traffic is that bad on your way to work, then just leave earlier. You got people complaining, road raging, blowing the horn, going all crazy, rushing from red light to red light. You could have left 10 minutes earlier, but yet instead you giving people the middle finger, cursing people out, going all crazy, complaining over stupid stuff. Do you know people have died as a result of complaints about stupid stuff? Yeah. People have died as a result of road rage. People have been trampled over and died during Black Friday. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Come on now, we can do better, saints. We as people of God need to know that we have to separate ourselves from complaining. We have to look at the positive things. We have to be able to have a good outlook and always think about good things and not get caught up in the rut of being complainers. Some other things that we complain about: a lack of luxury merchandise to supply a demand. Now, and during this COVID season, electronics and other things have been so limited. And you see things online about people complaining because they can't buy the newest video game coming out. These are non-essential things. People complaining about things that we don't even need, but yet the refrigerator's full. And even if it isn't full, you still got something to eat. Even if you don't have a job, God is still going to provide for you. God is still going to give you resources so that you can live to see another day. The condition or quality of something you receive as a gift. I've seen people complain about things that were given to them for free. How do you complain about something that you didn't even pay for? People getting free meals and complaining, oh, this ain't got enough salt. You didn't even pay for it. It was free. People complain about gifts that are given to them. How do you complain about something that you did not even work for, that you did not have to do anything for? It was given to you. The least that you could do is just say thank you and move on. If you don't like it, throw it in the garbage. If you don't like it, throw it in the back of the closet. But don't complain. Uncontrollable things that people complain about. Who is in leadership position? Who God decides to put in a leadership position is not in any of our control. Even with this election coming up, the only control that you have is over your personal vote. That's it. Beyond that, you have zero control over the Electoral College. You have zero control of how other people vote. You have zero control in who gets elected. The only thing that you have control over is your personal vote. And half the time, the people that complain are the people that don't even exercise that. The people that are complaining the most, if you ask them, well, who'd you vote for? Oh, I don't vote. I don't vote. I don't believe in voting. I don't need to vote. It don't matter anyway. But they're the ones complaining all day, every day, but they did not even exercise their right to vote. They did not even try to make an effort to make a change, but yet they still want to find a way to complain. I'm not going to complain who gets elected in this presidential election. I'm not going to complain because I know, and I've come to the realization that I know that God is in control. So whether it is Donald Trump who's the president, or whether Joe Biden is the president, or whether Kamala Harris is the president, or whether Mike Pence is the president, I know that God is still the King of Kings and God is still the Lord of Lords. Listen, the president isn't my king. The president is just the president of the United States of America. Listen, I don't serve and worship presidents. I serve and worship Jesus. I serve and worship the King, the one who died for me. There's no president that died for my sins. I'm not going to live on this earth forever. So I'm just going to trust the process. I'm going to go into the voting poll. I'm going to make my vote count, and I'm going to allow God to do the rest. I'm going to allow God to do his job. I'm not worried about who's getting elected. I'm not losing no sleep. I'm going to sleep like a baby tonight. I'm going to sleep like a baby on Tuesday night. Listen, people going crazy. They going to the gun store buying guns based on who's going to get elected because they think the country is going to go into a turmoil. Listen, I ain't buying no guns. I'm not going out buying no ammunition. I'm going to get in my prayer closet. I'm going to get on my knees and I'm going to pray to the God who has the whole world in his hands. I put my trust in God. I trust the one who sees all things and knows all things. I trust The one who is omnipresent, who's everywhere at the same time. Yes, yes, yes. I trust that he has my back. I trust that he's going to hold me down, whether Donald Trump's elected or whether Joe Biden's elected. I trust and believe that I'm good either way. I trust and believe that the church is still going to stand on solid ground either way. My praise is not predicated upon who's the president. Oh, let me say that again. My praise to God is not predicated upon who's the president. I'm not going to complain. People complaining about gas prices, luxury items. You just better thank God you got $3 to put a gallon in the tank. You better thank God that you even got a car to be able to drive, but yet complaining about what the gas prices are. Some people walking today. Some people got to take the bus today. But yet sometimes we complain about luxury items that we need in order to move the vehicle of the luxuries. See, we don't got problems in America. We got issues. See, a problem is when you don't have transportation. A problem is when you ain't got feet to walk. A problem is when you got to worry about bombs being thrown down on a Sunday when your pastor's in the church trying to preach a word. They say those are problems. See, in America, we got issues. We ain't got problems. We complain about how other people choose to live their life or what decisions they make. What does another person do with their life got to do with you? Why are you complaining to other people about how about what this person doing and how this person lived their life and whether they straight or gay or whether who they sleeping with and what they doing? Listen, what they doing ain't affecting you. Allow God to be God and stop complaining about how other people live their life. You just lead by example and do what God has called you to do. There are different levels of complainers. And we're going to get into the word in a minute. I know y'all looking for scripture. You say, preacher ain't preaching until he pull out the scripture. I'm going to give you the scripture in a minute. There are different levels of complainers. The first level of complainers is the minimalist complainer. This individual is optimistic in their approach to most things. Optimistic means that they're able to see good things in any situation. They're able to look at, they're able to see a forecast of positivity. Yes, these type of individuals, they look at life as half glass full as opposed to the glass half empty. You see, these are the type of people that you need to absorb yourself around. These are the type of people that when you have an issue or you're struggling with something, they're able to give you good advice. They're able to give you sound assistance in your going through. When you get ready to complain and when you get ready to tear somebody's ear off about a circumstance or a situation, this is the type of individual that you want around you that will tell you, listen, calm down first, stop, breathe. Did you get all the facts? Do you know all the facts? Did what you hear, was that just hearsay? Was it just hearsay, or do you know all the facts? Did you evaluate everything before you came into this level of explosion? See, sometimes we find ourselves complaining and we find ourselves going ham and we find ourselves going 0 to 100 and we don't even have all the facts yet. We complain about some things that we don't even know the whole truth to. So these are the type of people that are able to see positive in every circumstance and situation. They give people the benefit of the doubt. See, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt before I complain about you. I'm going to say, well, maybe they didn't mean how they said it. Maybe they didn't mean the way how they came across. I'm going to look at the positive things before I get into a rut about the negative things and begin to start complaining. The second type of individual is the average complainer. The average complainer. The average complainer is half optimist and half pessimist. Now, I gave you the definition of optimist. Now, the pessimist is the one who oftentimes looks at the worst case scenario. If they are in a circumstance or a situation, if they get a report from the doctors and the doctors can say, listen, this thing can go 50-50. You could either be paralyzed for the rest of your life, or you'll come out better than what you were before. The pessimist is going to take that report and only focus on the negative side of the report. This individual looks at life and situations that arise in life as the half of the glass half empty. Even though there's water halfway through the glass, they look at it as if it's halfway empty instead of halfway full. So this person is average. Sometimes they complain, and sometimes they do complain. They're about 50-50 in their approach about complaining. The third type of complainer, here's probably the most aggravating, is the professional complainer. The professional complainer. This type of individual is mostly pessimist, but since they've turned complaining into a profession, it's a job to them. Yes. They do 8 hours a day in complaining, and watch this, they use this profession to get others to get on board with their negative thinking. Yes, they're always campaigning to get other complainers on board with them. You know some people like that. You know some people that they've complained so much that they have turned into professional complainers. They have a PhD in complaining. They complain about everything. They wake up in the morning complaining. You ask them how they doing. Oh, I'm just so tired. Oh, my job is just killing me. Oh, my back hurt, my legs hurt, my neck hurt, my wrist hurt. Oh, I got a headache. Oh, I need lipo. I need a nose job. Oh, I need a haircut. Oh, I need a new wig. Oh, I need a new car. Oh, I need groceries. Oh, every time you see them, all they do is complain. They never got good news. And they always up in somebody's face, telling somebody some bad news, telling somebody something negative, trying to get other people to get on the campaign trail for their negativity. These are professional complainers. And the last type of complainers are the extremist complainers. The extremist complainers. Listen, these complainers are so bad in their complaining that even other complainers avoid them at all costs. Listen, the extremist complainers, listen, even complainers don't want to be around these people. When other complainers see them coming, they go across the street. When they see their name come up on their caller ID, they send them straight to voicemail, because they know that every time they talk to them, they're going to complain about everything. And this type of complainer wants to act upon their complaints. This type of complainer wants to, they want to destroy stuff. They want to go out there, they want to tear down buildings. They want to put things on fire. They want to try to destroy people. These are extremist complainers. They want to take their complaints to a whole nother level. These are the type of complainers that you want to avoid at all costs. Stay away from them. Listen, put them on mute, block them, do whatever you got to do. You got to be prayed up to deal with this type of complainer. See, because this type of complainer will wear you out. They will have your life turn upside down. They will turn your thinking into stinking thinking. All you trying to do is think about the goodness and mercy of God. You trying to focus on dealing with this job you don't want to go to, but you want to make the best of it. But this type of complainer will tell you to quit before you even got a new job. Now y'all both unemployed. Now you're both broke, busted, and disgusted. How you gonna listen to another complainer that ain't even got no job? They're gonna tell, oh, no, just go ahead and quit. Just go ahead and quit. You don't like the job? Yeah, that boss is mean. You don't deserve to be treated like that. Go ahead and quit, and you ain't got another job. Now you sitting on the couch playing PlayStation with them, on Facebook all day, on Instagram, looking at everybody else live their life. Because you quit your job listening to some other complainer. Complaining is counterproductive because it only consists of, watch this, exerting negative verbal energy. Complaining does not consist of ideas of planning nor change. Complainers never have an idea to make things better. They just want to complain. They just want to be negative. Three most common areas we as believers most often complain about are government leadership, employment leadership, and church leadership. We're gonna go through these in the next 15 minutes, and I'm gonna let you go. First thing that we want to focus on this week is don't complain about government leadership. Don't complain about government leadership. Let's look at what the text says. Let's go to Romans chapter 13. We're going to look at verses 1 and 2. And it reads, it says, let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has what? Established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, whoever rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment upon themselves. So watch this. When this election occurs, all of these people who are buying guns, who are amping up on ammo, who plan to riot and loot as a result of a candidate being picked because their candidate did not get picked, guess what? They're going to bring condemnation upon themselves. They're going to bring condemnation upon themselves because whoever God allows to be instituted, that's who he allows. And it's that cut and dry, plain and simple. Listen, whoever God allows, whether you think they're spiritual or not spiritual, whether you think they're holy or they're not holy, whether you think they deserve the position or don't deserve the position, listen, let God be God. The only control we have over it is our vote. God allows who he wants to be seated in leadership position. You just vote. Don't complain. Listen, I'm gonna tell you this, and we're gonna go to the next one. Complaining will never help the big cause. Complaining will never help the cause. It'll never help the movement. If you're going to complain, at least bring some ideas. If you're going to complain, at least bring some things that will help bring change as to what you're complaining about. Don't just complain to just complain. Don't just complain just so people can hear you talk. Listen, start a vlog if you just want to allow people to hear you talk. Start a YouTube page. Get you a couple followers. But listen, this government thing is serious. We don't need complainers who don't bring anything to the table for change. We want complainers who want to bring about change if you're going to complain. Second thing, don't complain about employment leadership. Don't complain about employment leadership. I know some of y'all got the weekend off. Tomorrow you're gonna be back at it again. I'm gonna be back at it again. Even as your pastor, I got to go back to work tomorrow. Right? In fact, no, I got to go back to work tonight. So, don't complain about employment leadership. God has blessed you with a job. If God has been careful enough and graceful enough to bless you with a job, then just be thankful for it and do the best that you can with it. And even if you don't have a job, don't complain about the job that you have of trying to get a job. See, because sometimes trying to get a job is harder than having a job. Amen. And even those of you who may be stay-at-home moms, that's a harder job than going to work. That's a harder job than finding a job. Listen, just thank God for what you do at home. If you're home and you take care of people or whatever your job is, thank God for what you have, whether it brings in a lot or it brings in a little, because I know that before you had it, you was begging God for it. I know before you had it, you were saying to God, God, if I get this, I'm just going to be so thankful. See, but what happens is we become comfortable with it. Once we get what God grants us, the reason we complain is because we see other people complaining at work. And we see other people doing certain things. And then we become complacent. It becomes normal to us. And we forget about the blessing. We forgot that we begged God for this. We forgot that we were on our knees begging God. God, I need this job. God, please give me this job, Lord. God, you know I need this job. And yet after about 6 months when we on the job, it wasn't what we thought it was. And now we start complaining. Now we get to work complaining. We start getting involved in the conversations of complaints about the leadership, not knowing that the people in leadership have tough decisions to make. It's not always easy to walk in the shoes of the leaders who lead you at work, at your job, your supervisors, HR, or the CEO of the company. Those shoes are big shoes to fill. And they have a difficult job. Guess what? Because they got to deal with you. Yeah, my boss got to deal with me. I'm not always easy to deal with all the time. If our boss has got to deal with us, that's a tough job. Amen. Let's look at Titus chapter 3, verses 1 and 2. It says, remind the people to be subject to rulers and authorities. Remind the people to be subject to rulers and authority, to be obedient, to be ready to do whatever is good. Verse 2. And it says to slander no one, not even your mean boss, not even the mean boss who wouldn't give you that vacation time that you wanted, or that mean manager who passed you up on a promotion. It says slander no one. So don't go around talking about them. Don't. It says to be peaceable and considerate, even though you didn't get your way, even though you may be mistreated. Listen, you still have to carry on the characteristics of Christ. You still have to be Christ-like, even when you feel like you shouldn't be. And it says, and always to be gentle toward everyone. That's good. So we subject ourselves to rulers and authorities and don't slander them when we're mistreated, when we're passed up, right? When we're pushed out. We don't act like the world acts. We don't act like the enemy acts. We still exercise Christ-like characteristics. Number 3, don't complain about church leadership. So we don't complain about government leadership. So these are the 3 things we're going to focus on this week. Don't complain about church leadership. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 13. Verses 17 and 18. This is our last couple verses for this lesson here. And it says, have confidence in your leaders. See, I like that word there. That is the key word there to prohibit complaining. This is how you stay away from complaining from leadership in church. He says, have confidence in your leaders and submit to their authority because they keep watch over you as those who must give an account. You got to understand that your leaders must give an account for how they lead over you. They don't give an account to you. See, we find ourselves in trouble because we think that our leaders owe an account to us. No, the account goes to God. Our job is to fall under submission under our leaders. Our job is our leaders don't owe us an account to us. They owe an account to God. It says, do this so that their work will be a joy. See, leadership doesn't need to hear you complaining, because the more you complain, the more it sucks out the joy in your leadership. The more the people of Israel complained to Moses, the more it sucked out his joy. This is why he struck the rock. This made him sin against God. Watch this. Complaints of people will make church leaders, will push church leadership into sin. Watch this. And then it says, not a burden, for that will be no benefit to you. Notice the text did not say it won't be a benefit for the leader. Watch this. The leader's joy is a benefit to the people. So the more that you pour into and encourage your leaders, the more in turn that you will receive from their joy. The more we complain to our leaders, the more their joy is sucked out, and the more that the more sour stuff that you'll get from your leader. Are y'all hearing me? If you want joy from your leaders, you got to pour joy into them. See, this is why one of the issues that we find with the new millennial church is that a lot of times people come to get with nothing to give. See, if your mind, this is going to help you from complaining. Look from a perspective of giving instead of getting. Because when you give, this is why Jesus says it's better to give than to receive. He's not just talking about Christmas gifts. This is spiritual. It's better to give than to receive, because what you put in is what you get out. When you inspire your leaders, they in turn inspire you. When you lift up your leaders, they in turn lift up you. When you give encouragement to your leaders, they turn around and encourage you. Listen, you gotta feed what feeds you. That's good. Listen, feed whatever feeds you. If you feed what feeds you, you're gonna get back what you feed. If you feed negativity to what feeds you, you're going to be fed negativity. If you feed positivity into what feeds you, that positivity is going to come right back to you. Oh God, that's good. You got to feed what feeds you. Feed your leaders good advice. Feed your leaders inspiration. Feed your leaders encouragement. Listen, every leader may not have the expertise and the knowledge that you think that they should have. They may not even be qualified as you may think they're qualified, but God still chose for them to be your leader. So encourage them, inspire them, even if you think you should have gotten a leadership position. See, because you got to learn to inspire other leaders while you're in the waiting room. See, because if you can't encourage other leaders, what you think is going to happen to you when you're in leadership position? So if you don't want to encourage leaders when you're not in leadership position, what happens when you're in leadership? You're going to want those same people to inspire you. You're going to want those same people to encourage you, even if you don't do the greatest of the job. But listen, sometimes people doing their best is all that they can do. Not everybody is as talented as other people. Some people don't have the mental capacity or knowledge as other people. Some people don't learn things as quick as other people. But God saw in their heart that they had a willingness, that they had a clean heart, that they had a desire to serve. So God says, I'm going to allow them to be a leader, because I'm going to allow them to learn while they do. Listen, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. See, God will call you first, then he'll qualify you. See, God will qualify you along the process. See, what people do is we just look at the resume and we don't even look at a person's heart. We look at what a person can do. We look at all of the accolades they have on the wall. And they could be some of the meanest, most devious, most conniving, most backstabbing people in the world, but they qualified because they pray like a deacon. They say them long prayers, and they can say all these elaborate words, and they preach good, and they do all this and that. But yet still they destroy people. They tear people down. They talk to people any old kind of way. They don't encourage people. They don't inspire anybody. They don't have any positive effect, but because they're accolades. But God looks at the heart. See, God is not worried about if you're qualified or not. You know what a great qualification of God is? Availability, teachability, and humbleness. God is looking for accountability. He's looking for you to take this thing serious and give it your best. If God allows you to be in leadership, just give your best. Because leaders owe an account to God, not an account to people. The account is to God and not the people. The people's job and responsibility is, as the Bible said, to trust your leaders. You have to trust your leaders, encourage, and inspire them. All right, I'm getting ready to close now. So what are some ways to eliminate complaining? What are some ways to eliminate complaining? Instead of complaining or saying something negative, just pray. That's a simple one, y'all. For those who like things really simple, really straight to the point, instead of complaining or saying something negative, just pray. Pray for the person. Pray for the situation. Pray for the circumstance. Before you do anything, just pray. This is what I love what the older saints used to say. Just pray. See, we've developed so much trust in ourselves and taking on things in our own hands that we don't even go to God first about things. We act first and then we go to God. We cuss somebody out and then go to God. We step to somebody first and then go to God. We talk about somebody, we get on the phone and slander and complain and do all that, and then we pray to God before we go to bed. But what you should have did was pray to God before you got on that phone. We got to take things to God first before we complain. Number 2, write down your issues in addition to solutions that you believe will make a change or positive impact. Write down your issues. Listen, instead of it coming out of your mouth, why don't you jot it down? Wow. Instead of making it come up, why don't you put it down? Oh, that's good. Instead of making your issues come up out of your mouth, why don't you put it down on paper? And while you're at it, and while you're putting it down, put down some solutions too. See, because finding problems and complaining, anybody can do that. Any one of us can find fault in anybody, in any situation, in any circle. Anybody can find fault. That's easy to do. Listen, people don't impress me when they point out problems. I'm not impressed by that because anybody can do that. A little 2-year-old could point out there's a problem. A little 2-year-old can tell you if there ain't no milk in a bottle. A 2-year-old can tell you if the milk is ran out of the bottle. Listen, you don't impress me when you come to me with a problem. I'm impressed when you come to me with a problem and you've already thought of a solution. Now I'm impressed. Now that's good. because everybody don't see the problem. That's easy. Number 3, think about the best case scenario instead of the worst. Think about the best case scenario instead of the worst. When we're presented with circumstances and situations, things that we complain about or things that we don't like, it can always go 2 ways. It can always go 2 ways, right? So think about the best case scenario. Think about, what could happen? What is the greatest possibility that could come about of this situation? And I want your mind to focus on that. I want you to look, as you're writing down this complaint and you're coming up with solutions, I want you to think about what's the best case scenario, and then I want your mind to hone in on that. And I want you to just think about that. If you get a doctor report that's 50-50, I don't even want you to think about the negative aspect. Just focus on the positive part. Number 4, think about ways that you can help a person or a situation in a positive way. Think about ways that you can positively help a person or a situation. Listen, think about ways. Before you complain about somebody's lifestyle, before you complain about a person's decisions, before you complain about what a person did or what they said, think about ways that you could help and assist. Do that first and then revisit it. Number 5, here's the last one here. And if you cannot think of any ideas, go back to number 1, pray. If you can't do 2, 3, or 4, go back to number 1. I want you to start all over again. Because praying always outweighs complaining. And watch this. Praying will help you and enable you to look at whatever that situation that you're complaining about with a different lens. It will help you view it from a spiritual perspective. It'll settle down some of that anger that you're dealing with, or it'll settle down some of those negative thoughts that you had. Because when we complain, we complain because of negative thoughts, because of something that we dislike. Complaining comes from a dislike. It's because of something that we don't like. Go back to number 1. If 2, 3, and 4 don't work for you, go back to number 1. That will always work. Complaining will never produce any positive results. Never. Let me say that again. And I want you to highlight that. I want you to put that, paint that over your headboard on your bed. Complaining will never produce positive results. Never. There's nothing that ever comes good out of complaining. Never. It won't change your situation. Complaining won't change people. It won't change your circumstances. It won't put money in your bank account. It won't get you a promotion. Complaining will never produce any positive results. Complaining will not help anyone or any situation. Complaining is exercising energy that is counterproductive and wasteful. It's like money going down the drain. It's like time and energy. It's like you taking your time and your energy and flushing it down the toilet. Complaining is toxic and poisonous to the person verbalizing it and also to whoever hears you're complaining. Listen, people don't want to hear you complain all the time. They just don't want to tell you. You just ain't came across somebody yet who told you the truth. Because I know that somebody's saying, listen, you complain too much. And I know there's some things in your life that you ought to be thankful for. You complain way too much. Before you complain, think to yourself and say, how will what I say make any positive impact? Before you complain, think to yourself and ask, will what I say make a positive impact? Ask yourself that. And if it doesn't, then guess what? Keep it to yourself. You ever heard of that comment, that quote that says, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say it at all? I think that's a culmination of what they really meant by that. Think about what you say and how and what effect will it make. If it's not going to make a positive effect, then why say it? If it's only going to produce negative results, then why put it out there? If we are just complaining to be complaining, we fall in danger of becoming professional or even extreme complainers subconsciously. Because I think even most people who are professional complainers or who are extreme complainers don't realize that they are. I don't think anybody wakes up in the morning and says, listen, I want this, here's a list of things I want to complain about. No, it's become redundant. It's become redundant, and they've become comfortable in their complaining. Remember, many of the things that we complain about are either trivial, Black Friday's coming, it's either trivial, you really don't need it, or you have zero control over it. So why waste your time, your efforts, and your energy over things that are so small and minute, or over things that you have no control over? Why don't you just look at the positive? Just say to yourself, listen, this may be able to turn out good. I know it may look like it's a bad situation, but I'm going to put my mind on what the outcome could be if it's positive. I pray this message has encouraged you. I pray it has inspired you. I want you to hone in on those three things this week, and I want you to fast and pray. I want you to fast and pray and not complaining about government, not complaining about employment, and not complaining about church leadership. This week, I want us to focus on those things and not complaining at all. I want you to evaluate yourself and pay attention to what you're doing and how you complain and how much you complain, because you'll come to find, and even myself, I complain about more than what I should complain about, because God has been good to me. God has blessed me, and I need to do less complaining. I'm preaching to myself too. Don't think I'm just preaching to y'all. I'm in the boat with you. God bless you.